Nice.
And
pretty good game.
yeah, great game. Home team won. Good day all around. Beautiful day out.
Yeah.
Stadium's incredible.
We were just talking about that.
That was
How
good,
they
too.
know.
Was that good in person?
My wife told me as the halftime show was ending that can they just do that for the second half?
I wanted another 15, 20 minutes for sure.
A lot of people were enjoying it. It was a great show.
That's awesome.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, usually it doesn't feel like those are very good for the in-person crowd. It seemed like the stadium was going nuts.
The stage itself, how they brought everything out and set that whole production up in 7 or 8 minutes was really incredible. And then the music was even better with the performers. It was a lot of fun.
How's that doing?
He's doing better, progressing. We expect him to be ready Thursday. And, we're hopeful, I should say. Yeah. But he feels a lot better now. He's so skilled that he'll be able to play against Washington's zone if even though he hasn't played in almost 2 weeks. But we expect him to be back and see how it plays.
Did the symptoms just like come out?
He was hit very hard in the nose, and his nose was bleeding in the Arizona game. And we didn't realize it was broken until we got back, and then he received x-rays and saw the fracture, a slight fracture, and then the concussion-like symptoms started appearing. And concussion protocol, that could take a couple of days, it could take a week, it could take 2 weeks. So he was almost ready to play against UCLA. He wanted to play, but his health is the most important thing. And we just the doctors and Isaiah and our staff just thought it was best that we play without him. And I thought our players did a tremendous job of stepping up, playing very hard without him.
Is he still in the protocol right now?
No, he can come back when he's ready. Today he did a lot of shooting and individual workouts, so we expect him to be ready. He won't be 100% as far as his he just hasn't run up and down the court a lot at all in the last week and a half, maybe the last 12 days.
Every team likes to say next man up, but your team got a pretty good reminder of the value of that on Saturday. Just how important is that for the team to have that confidence to know that it really can be next man up like that?
I think there are two big factors in that game. Number one was the crowd. They have 2,500 students, have a sold-out arena with the energy, and it was just an electric atmosphere. I thought that really helped our players. And then our players performed. They played outstanding defense. They played extremely hard. They got on the floor. They were diving for loose balls. They took charges. They made it difficult for UCLA to get a clean look at the basket. We held them to 29% from the field, which was it's great for any game, especially against UCLA, who's so good offensively. So I really we were all proud of our players, how they realized they were playing without their leading scorer, leading rebounder. They also leads in assists, I believe, we're second. But to have that type of productivity out, it had to come from somewhere else, and they did it collectively, and it was great to see.
With Drew, obviously he was a big part of kind of stepping into that void. How do you sort of parlay that into more confidence down the stretch, especially when Isaiah comes back and he's not necessarily needed to take on as much of like a scoring role as he has in the past game?
Well, if you watch us play all year, we never know who has the hot hand. I think our players are very talented. We've had a little inconsistency at times with our shooting, which cost us a couple games. But Drew in particular, you mentioned him, he doesn't need any more confidence. He has all the confidence in the world. He just needs to go out and play basketball consistently at the level that he's capable of. And everybody has off games once in a while, but he was special on Saturday night with his rebounding, his block shots, of course his scoring. And without Isaiah, we really needed someone like that to step up.
When Isaiah's not available and Boogie's having an off night, how do you tell certain players to find their defined role in that game instead of trying to do too much maybe?
Well, we started running the offense through Drew most of the end of the first half, most of the second half. Put the ball in his hands a lot. He had 4 assists. He was making the right decisions. And one guy can't score all the points, but there were some one-on-one moves. He made some isolations that he had. He was making tough shots, and those shots for him they look harder than what they are for him because he's so big and long that he can get that shot off. He's got that fadeaway, he practices it. So some of the shot making was impressive. But we just ran the offense through Drew. Isaiah was out. Boogie was struggling a little bit with his shooting and his playmaking, but we thought Ethan Anderson did a great job of running the team and didn't have a turnover. He made the right play at the right time. It was very valuable, and because of our other playmakers were out.
Well, you pointed out after the game that like Max didn't shoot a three-pointer. So is that something you guys talk about, or is it just something that it happened organically?
Well, Max played one of his best games as a Trojan because his defense was as good as there is in the Pac-12 with his length and his quickness and how he challenged shots, rebounded, he blocked a couple shots from behind, and then offensively he was very solid. He drove the ball when he had to. He came to a jump stop, made some good passes, and finished. And when we were down 4 midway through the second half, 45-41, he drove to the baseline, made a little 5-foot floater, and then he cut, and Ethan found him in the middle of the lane, and all of a sudden it was a tie game, and we went on that run. So I thought Max's offensive ability there to get to the rim and create easy shots for himself were very important for the win.
How did Drew first come onto your radar when you entered the transfer portal? Were
Yeah,
you
he
already
entered,
aware of him?
Drew entered the transfer portal when he was at Rice.
Right.
So we just watched video on him and were impressed with what he did at Rice for 2 years and thought he could fit perfectly into our system. He's done a great job.
He was committed to Minnesota initially, right? And then he flipped to USC like a week later.
I believe that's right. I think we had a scholarship open up. I can't remember the exact timing of it, but the guys in the transfer portal usually have a lot of options, and we're just fortunate that he picked to come here, and he's been a great asset to our program, and obviously an Elite 8 run last year is so valuable in that, and this year he's having a great season for us.
Seems like he has, prolonged spurts and then sometimes some lulls in terms of shooting. What's the key for him?
About the 1 for 13 at Arizona.
Yeah, a couple of those.
And the 1 for 6 and the 1 for 7.
How do you keep him consistent, or what's the key to him kind of staying on the level that he showed?
Well, we always tell our players, no one plays great every game. Drew does a lot of things to help you win. As you saw, he had 5 block shots, he had 4 assists, he had 12 rebounds the other night. So even if he had a below-average shooting game, he still helps our team win. And so we try to keep his confidence up as the other guys. Everybody has off nights, and he knew he had an off night last week in Arizona, and he bounced back. But that's what really good or great players do. They learn from some things, but they keep their confidence up and keep playing. And he was really special this whole week.
When he's playing at his best offensively, it seems like this offense kind of goes to another level.
Yeah, I've always said this, your best players in big games, your best players have to play well for you to win a big game. And that's why they're called your best players. And so the guys that can create for each other, the guys that can score the ball at high levels, someone has to do that, or a couple of them have to do that. And then the bench is very important as well. So we had great bench production. Reese comes off the bench and scores 10 and plays great defense. And of course, Drew had 27 points. So I think you have to have your best players play well. And I think that's true when you get into the Pac-12 tournament and especially the NCAA tournament. If your offense will be efficient and you score enough points to win, it's usually the guys that have been there and done that.
Got an 8:30 tip-off. You got an 8:30 tip-off on Thursday. The Arizona game was just announced as an 8 o'clock tip-off. Is there any level of frustration that as a marquee team in this conference you can't get better opportunities to showcase on television?
Well, that's a tricky question because we obviously have nothing to do with the tip-off times. Right. We just follow the television in the Pac-12. They let us know when we play. The 8:30 is not ideal. I don't think I've ever tipped off at 8. It's usually 8 or 9. We tipped off at 9 at Arizona State a week and a half ago. That was interesting. But last year in the NCAA tournament, we had the last game for the Kansas game. I think we tipped off at 10:20 local time, p.m., and then against Oregon, I think it was the same 10:20, and getting back at the hotel at 1 or 2 in the morning. So 8:30 is late. 8 o'clock is better than 6 probably in LA because of the traffic, and I think we'll get a better student crowd. So the Arizona game at March 1st, I think it was at 8 o'clock. I would rather have that than the 6 o'clock game because 6 o'clock in Los Angeles, I think our crowd would be very late arriving. And but 8:30 is a unique time, so we'll make the best of it, and hopefully I can stay awake. I'll take a few extra shots of espresso and get ready to go. Maybe take 2 naps.
Do you think that type of environment that you guys had here Saturday night's ready to carry over for the rest of the season?
I hope so. It won't be a a sellout electric crowd like UCLA, because that is our rival with 2 ranked teams, and what it meant to both programs for that game Saturday night. That crowd was as good as I've seen since I've been here. Really as good a crowd and atmosphere as I've seen anywhere. And that really makes a big difference. And I think it's special for USC basketball to be in this place because there have been many times throughout the years we had good teams and we just didn't get the support. We hope that there's some carryover. Whether it's Thursday night or Sunday afternoon at 4:30, we'd like to have 5,000 or 6,000 fans in here and another 1,500, 2,000 students. Our marketing department's done a terrific job. They really have done a great job with the students, and the students have supported us all season. And home court advantage. You go to these other places, you go to Arizona, there's 14,500 every night. It's a hard place to play. And Saturday night it was a hard place to play for an opposing team, and we're very thankful for that.
Not a lot of restrictions in Arizona for people.